The alternative is one of two things. You can either get all these things and make the economy strong, or you're going to literally have perhaps a depression where you people so rich, so beautiful, so nice to look at will be totally busted. And
everything's fake with that administration. Everything's fake with the Democrats. Take a look at what they just found about the dossier. Everything is fake. They're a bunch of sick people.
The Democrats are out of control. You saw that the other night during the speech when they wouldn't stand up for two of the young ladies were killed by illegal aliens, one with the cancer, the young man with the cancer, and all you want to do is stand up and applaud the man and the boy, the young boy. And nobody's ever seen anything like that. They're out of control. They've lost their minds.
The Republicans have their heart in it. The Democrats they just want to destroy our country. A Democrat wants to destroy the country. They won't vote on it. They don't vote on anything. This is the biggest tax cut in history. Everything is the biggest in history. It's the best bill we've ever had. We can't get one Democrat vote.
Welcome to Truth with JJ Carrell. I played that montage because Trump said a couple things in there that are right on. And one of them is the Democrats hate our country. And the other one is the Democrats are evil. And he's spot on, man. The Democrats hate America. They absolutely hate America. Who's changed our demographics in America? Who opened the borders? Who did all the transgender freak perversion in our country? Who's brought that into our schools? Who got us into war? Who continues to keep us in war with Ukraine? Democrats. Who's waving the flags of Ukrainians? Democrats. Who's protesting that there has been 0 murders? First time in maybe ever since the founding of our nation in Washington, D.C. First time in years, at least decades, there hasn't been a murder. They can't applaud that. But who's protesting against it? Well, the white liberals are. The white Karens, the insane, flamboyantly gay and sexually perverse white men in Washington, D.C. The Democrats are evil. Now, I would easily argue that, and Trump started to say, he said it, Mitt Romney won't name other names of the seditious Republicans, the absolute gutless co-conspirators to destroy America. This is no longer the party of Carter and LBJ. Even LBJ was disgustingly corrupt and racist. They're not even that party where we love America. We have different ideas of how America should be and how we treat homeless and education and are we spending too much money? And the Republicans are the party of the wealthy and the Democrats are the union and working class. That struggle, that contrast doesn't exist anymore. It's completely gone. You have the Republicans that are warmongers and want to enrich themselves and gorge them. They're like a 500-pound obese person at a Golden Corral buffet on their 17th trip to the trough. That's the Republicans in war. You have the warmongering Republicans that are kind of soft, doughy, gutless white people. And then you have the Democrats. And the Democrat politicians hate America. They despise our founding fathers. They call them racist and slave owners and hypocritical, disgusting people. Then you have the Democrats that are for foreign nations outside of America. Hell, they're for foreign wars now. Anybody and anything that is not America or Americans, the Democrats are for. The Democrats are for open borders, violent crime, criminals, sexual perversion, secular, it is a religion. Their secular beliefs are a cult. They're a cult, not even a religion. They're a cult. And Donald Trump is 100% correct. The Democrats are evil. And it's about time someone says it out loud other than me. Sometimes I feel I'm way ahead of the game. I do. I've been saying this for quite a long time, that you cannot look at their actions. Let's not even talk about what they say. Let's just look at their actions, and you tell me they're not demon-possessed. And we need to speak this way. Because if you're not going to speak the truth, and if you're not going to point out the problem, then nothing's going to change. Well, JJ, you're too harsh, and you're always to the extreme. No, I'm not. I'm pointing out the extremism. I'm pointing out that they want to shunt the baby's head and kill it as it head crowns through the vaginal canal and starts to come out of the woman's body and is a full-born baby. They want to shunt the brain and kill it. Right there. That's not extreme? Am I supposed to soft pedal? Am I supposed to be kind and understanding and civil while they're killing babies at the 9th month? That's what you're trying to tell me? 30 million people crossed the border in 4 years. We have 55 million visa holders in America, meaning over 105 million people. Let me repeat that. 105 million people are inside America, and you want me to not point out and say that's extremism? You want me to soft pedal that? You want me to be kind? My numbers, at least 1 million terrorists came in the country. At least 1 million terrorists came in the country in 4 years. The federal government admits to 200,000. Special interest aliens. They give them nice kind of names. Special interest, kind of aliens. No. Those are terrorists. And they let them in the country. I'm not supposed to point out that extremism. I'm supposed to soft pedal that and be civil. Well, JJ, just can you try to be, maybe a little kinder and not be so harsh in your description of people? No, I can't. And I won't. Look, I'm going to come out. What the hell is Donald Trump talking about yesterday? That we're going to bring in 600,000 Chinese students. What in God's name are you talking about, sir? And then Lucknick, who I really respect, comes out and says, well, if we don't bring in those 600,000 Chinese nationals that are paying full tuition. Well, no, they're not. They're getting all scholarships from endowments too. That, the education system will collapse. Good. Then let it collapse. Are you telling me that our university and colleges absolutely depend on foreigners to come here? If that's your model of success, then too bad you fail. We're looking at the absolute attack of America from all fronts and from both parties. Is Donald Trump doing, if I laid out 100 things Donald Trump is doing, I agree with probably 97, 98 of them. Bringing foreign students in from China that are all spies? Nope, not a good idea. I'll put that on the lost column. The idea that we're going to not go in and arrest farm workers and service industry? Nope, sorry, sir. I'm going to have you on the loser column on that. We're now at 98, positive to negative. But I don't think Donald Trump does or makes a mistake because he hates America. That's the difference. When I look at the Democrats and they do something that you go, someone would say, well, that's a mistake. No, that's purposeful. They did that because they hate America. I'm not splitting hairs here. This is just the truth. You don't open the border. You don't obliterate the Immigration Nationality Act law book and ignore it and create policy out of whole cloth, or take policy and flip it a 180 and call it something else and allow 30 million people into the country. You don't like my number 30 million? Let's go with the government. The government admits to 18 million. Of that 18 million, they flew them in, millions in. Flew them in. How's that a mistake? The Democrats are a party that rallies around MS-13 gang members, human smugglers, wife beaters. Kilmar, Abrego Garcia. I hate even saying those stupid names. I remember as a Border Patrol, I'd be like, just shut up. I don't even care what your 19 names are. Just tell me what the hell your first and your only one last name, because I don't want to have to spell out all that garbage. Juan, Garcia, Fuentes, Abrego, Kilmar, Gonzalez, Espinoza, Ramirez. I don't care. This is called America. Give me your first and your last name, moron. Oh, while you're at it, tell me your date of birth. Well, officer, my date of birth is Friday. Yeah. I want you to understand that retardation, that absolute IQ of 65 or below. I witnessed that throughout my career, and millions, tens of millions of those functionally retarded people are in our country because the Democrats are evil and the Republicans are complicit. I have said this, and I have said this, written this in my books, put in my documentaries. I go and give speeches, and this is one of the first things that I say, and it makes people uneasy, and I don't care. I tell them, I want you to understand what my perspective is, where it's coming from. What I'm going to say today is on the basis that the foundation of what I'm going to tell you today is the foundation is the United States federal government is the enemy of the people, period. And I say, when I'm done speaking, if you still don't believe me, then come and challenge me, because I love a good conversation. I want you to explain to me what the federal government has done that has been a beneficial, not to the Jews in Israel, not to the Mexicans in Mexico, not to the whole world, no, to what we like to call Americans in America. What have they done that has benefited us? And the answer is nothing. You can't name one. On top of the Democrats being evil, they're stupid. They are some of the dumbest people in our society. I'm going to play you a quick Pritzker, the giant pumpkin head Pritzker. His head weighs at least 125 pounds. At least. It's enormous. How can your head become so fat? Honestly. Once your head gets to, that size, don't you think you'd say, my gosh, my head has fat on it. Maybe I should try something different. Listen to Pritzker. Listen to this moron give a press conference about Donald Trump. It's unbelievable. They don't even understand how stupid they are. Go ahead and play that, Logan.
Rent-free in the president's head, and I wish he would spend some time in Chicago so that he could see what a lovely city we have.
Governor, quick follow-up. What do you do if the National Guard is activated and comes here?
They don't even have a concept of their surrounding. None. Don't you think you would take a look around and go, oh, that's not a good optic. Trump above me talking about how Trump lives in his head rent-free? Okay, dude. Look, you got a freaking mansion inside that freaking head of yours. I can put a whole city inside that fat nugget of yours. I'm going to make this prediction. And I said this when I did my documentary about the racial problems between the blacks and the illegal alien Venezuelans. I'm going to tell you something's going to happen. Chicago is going to be the ground zero of this war. It's ground zero of this war. When Donald Trump sends in the National Guard, it's going to be ground zero, because Pritzker and that DEI hire Johnson are going to do everything they can to create a kinetic, violent war. Go ahead and play this on Pritzker.
Finally, to the Trump administration officials who are complicit in this scheme, to the public servants who have forsaken their oath to the Constitution to serve the petty whims of an arrogant little man, to any federal official who would come to Chicago and try to incite my people into violence as a pretext for something darker and more dangerous, we are watching, and we are taking names. This country has survived darker periods than the one that we're going through right now, and eventually the pendulum will swing back, maybe even next year. Donald Trump has already shown himself to have little regard for the many acolytes that he has encouraged to commit crimes on his behalf. You can delay justice for a time, but history shows you cannot prevent it from finding you eventually. If you hurt my people, nothing will stop me, not time or political circumstance, from making sure that you face justice under our constitutional rule of law. As Dr. King once said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Humbly, I would add, it doesn't bend on its own. History tells us we often have to apply needed to make sure that the arc gets where it needs to go. This is one of those times. I look
That's
forward
good.
to taking your questions in a few minutes, but first,
There's a lot of stupidity. I have to show this. Logan, can you pull up the very end of that where we can have a great shot of Dick Durbin over his right shoulder, if you don't mind? If you can pull that up. Can you go one
Needed
more? Just get a
to
full
make sure.
head shot. Right there. It's good. We'll go a little bit more. That's Dick Durbin, right? Perfect. He was expressionless for the whole press conference. Who does he look like? We have another brain-dead politician. That's Joe Biden. We all are going to hit that age where everything kind of falls apart. Dick Durbin has been a senator for decades. He's a totem pole. He's a piece of wood standing there, and someone put some wispy hair to blow in the wind to make him look like he's alive. He's dead. Are you tired of 70 and 80s, 90-year-old people running our country? Honestly, are you? I am. Tell me that man looks like Donald Trump. Donald Trump's in his 70s. Donald Trump acts like he's in his 50s, 40s. That man ain't acting or looking like anything but a dead piece of meat. That's good, Logan. And you go to Pritzker. I just wanted to play that because I wanted to show you how they're gearing up. But more than that, I want you to listen to what he said about the law enforcement officers. He's taking names, and I don't doubt that he is. He's going to take names, and then if they get in power again, they are going to make January 6th look like child's play. That's the truth. They can never get in power again. Never. Ever. They are traitors to this country. They are evil, and they are pieces of trash. Trump's going to send in the National Guard to Chicago. The inner city blacks are going to hail him as the chief, as the inner city blacks in DCF. But Pritzker, that dead piece of wood, Dick Durbin, and that DEI hire, Johnson, are going to manufacture a violent, kinetic war. And it's going to be ugly. I'm not betting money on a DEI hire, a piece of wood, and a gigantic fat blob. No, my money will be on Trump and the National Guard. You need to be prepared. You better get prepared. Sat123.com. Sat123.com is our sponsor today. Go to that number, 941-841-0844. You will get a customer service rep that is an American from America. No one from Bangladesh or India or Mexico or somewhere in the Asian world is going to be talking to you, named Susie or Bob or Sally. And you're going to have products there at sat123.com that you need. Do you need all of them? I say yes. Do I have all of them? Not yet. I have sat phones. I have ballistic backpacks, my Gen 3, my Starlink. I want to have connectability. When you watch end of world movies, my son and I love them. What is it always? Is that isolation feel because you have no connectability. You have no idea what's going on. None. Wouldn't it be great to have a sat phone to be able to call and find out what's going on? It could be as, quote, small as Pacific Palisades fire, or small as the flood in Texas that ripped all the wires and power lines out, couldn't talk to anybody. It could be small as the tsunami in Hawaii, where you're stuck in traffic for hours and you have no cell phone coverage. You can't talk to anybody. You can't align anything up with your family members. I love the company Sat123 because it's about being prepared. It's about, you don't believe in that stuff's ever going to happen to you. Not going to be massive tornadoes in the Midwest and the tsunamis, earthquakes, fires, man-made stuff, wars in Chicago in the inner cities. You don't want to believe all that. That's fine. You have a teenager driving, college student driving, going back and forth from school, have a wife or a husband that's commuting, is taking them, hour and a half each way. Wouldn't it be awesome to have an absolute fail-safe connectability through a sat phone? Get a sat phone. You get a sat phone for free when you get a monthly subscription. It's less than $100. Absolutely worth it. I have it. Go to sat123.com/JJ. And I'll throw this out there. My son's got a ballistic backpack, goes to school. We've already gone through, hey, this is how I want the ballistic backpack over you if there's shooting. And then you're going to have to be a man. As a young boy, you're going to have to be a man, and you're going to have to figure out, can you help? And if you can help, I want you to go and help. And then have that as your shield. Sat123.com/JJ. I got Ann Vandersteel should be coming on. I know she's traveling or she's in between some things. So I'm just going to keep going until she shows up. But I know that she's ready. Okay. Then let's go ahead and go with Ann Vandersteel. Ann, welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
JJ, good. I've been listening to you for the past, 10 minutes or so, and you're not wrong. I mean, that entire cabal needs to be eliminated. And to the point when you're talking about pieces of wood that have been there too long, term limits are a must. But more importantly, right now, with everything that Tulsi Gabbard's pulling together with all of the fraud and the criminals, particularly all the election fraud we now know that was, that transpired not only in 2024, but in 2022, 2020, and so on and so forth. She's going to make it bulletproof for Trump's executive order so that we can go to same-day voting on watermarked paper ballots, voter ID. We're going to get a clean election in 26, and we're going to remove the majority of the corruption, the sewage, and we're going to unplumb that sewage line in D.C. and restore the integrity of the American people and their faith and trust in free and fair elections and get real representative form of government so that we can stop having to have these ridiculous news cycles where you've got, illegal aliens that waltz into ICE checking in, like we do have with, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, right? He went in on Monday into Baltimore, and shocker, he's getting arrested for deportation. Couldn't even speak a word of English, not even a hello, goodbye, nothing. We're supposed to feel sorry for him, please. I mean, this whole DEI nonsense, everything has to stop. The MK Ultra propaganda media has to be silenced, and we've got to start with clean elections so we can get control of this entire apparatus and restore the people's government of, by, and for the people.
I absolutely agree. I have several clips that I want to show you, and you hit on several of them. I didn't even tell you that I'm going to play these, but I want to start with J.D. Vance, and I want to get to Kilmar Garcia, blah, 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 blah. I hate their freaking 18 names. How about you're in America? How about your first and last name, jerk off? I don't need your 18 different names, right? I can't stand it. Throughout my whole career, I couldn't stand it. That's not had anything to do with you, Ann. That's my personal
I hear
deal.
You.
Oh, so we'll get to Kilmar, who does not speak English. Kilmar's been here. Now let's give him some grace. He's only been here 14 years.
Yeah.
14 years. He only is a smuggler. a human smuggler. He likes to beat his wife, which is fine. I understand wives get you a little mouthy sometimes, but he's smuggling people and he's beating his wife and he doesn't speak English.
Right.
What a piece of, and he's MS-13. But let's digress. I'm going to show you a clip of J.D. Vance talking about the Democrats are the criminals. They're evil. And I would like to get your take on that because I believe we have to speak in these terms. And if you don't agree with that, I would like your opinion on that. Can you play this, Logan? Sure. Number 8.
Roughshod over their cities and have been for decades. Why are Democrat governors angrier about federal law enforcement helping clean up their streets than they are about the fact that those streets need to be cleaned up to begin with? It shows a real sickness in the head. And I agree with the President of the United States. I think most Democrats, rank and file, nobody likes crime. Republicans don't like crime. Democrats don't like crime. Independents don't like crime. Why are Democratic governors doing everything in their power to make crime easier to do in their cities? It doesn't make an ounce of sense to me. But Mr. President, I appreciate you being willing to help, and I hope these governors take you up on the offer because we should clean up all of America's streets. It's the right of every American to live in safety and comfort in their community.
And what's your take on the pushback from all the Democrats about not having safe streets? It's unbelievable. It's a mental illness, just like Vance said.
Well, it is a mental illness, but you have to understand the rot goes down to the very local level. As Sean Taylor has reported recently with his 15 years of research and digging into, remember, this is the former assistant police chief from Millersville, Tennessee, reported that, the money laundering cycle is complete with the cartels basically running all aspects of municipal, state, and federal government. In other words, they're smuggling in billions and billions of cartel money, laundering it through banks, laundering it through even Goldman Sachs, and bringing it right here into the country to buy up houses and then, of course, create these inflated mortgages. And those inflated mortgages can only exist on the actual property tax assessor's rolls if you control the local county property tax assessor, which means they are controlling everything down to the local level. And so if you want to know why Democrat governors don't care, it's the money that's coming into this country that is feeding their own coffers through the Act Blue donations, through all these NGOs that are getting that inflated fake mortgage stuff, the mortgage fraud, inflating these NGOs, and those NGOs are funding candidacies predominantly in states that are Democrat and or states they're trying to flip, as in the case of Texas. Texas is purple. I don't care what anybody says. The people there aren't purple, but the representation is, and that's because they're in the process of this color revolution, and they're trying it here in Florida. They're trying it in several states right now. They need to break the backs of these big Republican strongholds so they can complete the takeover. So you ask, why are the governors not doing anything, particularly in Democrat states? They're paid not to do anything, and that money's coming directly in from contraband of weapons trafficking, human trafficking, drug trafficking, and that, of course, goes hand in glove with our own CIA that perfected these color revolutions using those same techniques of money laundering, drug trafficking, human trafficking, and weapons trafficking outside the United States. They brought it home here to complete the coup. And frankly, it's not about they're after me and you, they're after the world, and America is in the way, and you got to take America down through a true color revolution. And this is why these governors don't stand up and fight back. They're getting paid.
And we are the last domino that has to fall in order to reset the world. Western Europe is done. They're going to have I think UK is going to have a civil war here pretty soon. But a lot of the Western Europe is already done from massive illegal immigration, mainly all single adult military-aged men from Muslim nations across the globe, destroying Western Europe. And that will happen in America. That is, I agree with you, this is a cabal, a global cabal. But they're using issues here in America and what J.D. Vance is saying, that the Democrats side with criminals. Let's take the gentleman that you just talked about, this savage, Kilmar Abrego, blah, blah, blah. This idiot has been in the country 14 years, speaks no English. He's caught trafficking. I love this. Well, I don't think he was just giving people a ride. And he was giving 8 or 9 people that he's never met in the middle of the night a ride. Okay.
Right.
All right. I'm a moron. I can't tell you how many times I heard that as I pulled over a car filled with illegal aliens and I look at the driver and go, who are those people? I have no idea. I just picked them up. Oh, okay. You just drove down the border and picked up some people in the woods and drove them away and you had no idea. That's the absurdity of the Democrats. But I want to play this just to drive this home. This is the protest the Democrats held for Kilmar when he was released and before he goes back in to ICE custody. And he had to have an interpreter to tell us his sad story. Go ahead and play this for a minute.
When I was detained, I remembered memories with my family, going to the park with them, going to the trampoline with my children.
Esos momentos me darán fuerzas y esperanza para seguir luchando.
Those moments will continue to give me hope to continue in this fight.
A toda la familia también que han sufrido separaciones y que viven constantemente por la amenaza de ser separadas, quiero decirle, aunque la injusticia nos está golpeando duro, no perdamos la fe.
To all the families who have been separated, or to all the families who have been threatened with family separation, this administration has hit us hard. But I want to tell you guys something.
Dios está con nosotros. Dios nunca nos dejará. Dios hace justicia a toda la injusticia que han hecho.
God is with us, and God will never leave us. God will bring justice to all of the injustice that we are suffering.
Oh, yeah, God's going to do it. I understand. He's completely on your side, you bunch of savages. And guy's been here 14 years. What the bigger issue I want to talk to you about is the Democrats are all for him. The Democrats are for an MS-13 gang member staying in America.
Right. Listen, we all can remember the time when Nancy Pelosi took that picture with the guy with the MS-13 gang member who was fully tatted up on his face, right? You know, she loves him. You know, it's again, remember, somebody came and showed up to her house and took a hammer to her husband's head. Apparently she loves violence, or maybe that's the 3 martinis speaking. I don't really know. But when you have somebody here for 14 years that cannot speak a lick of English, I'm sorry. I don't believe that. I do not believe it. I believe this is a giant, big charade psyop. Yeah, did he get caught doing bad things? Absolutely. Is he a lawbreaker? Without a question. But I think this is also a big fat show by the left to sort of tap into the bleeding heart liberals who can't understand what the Constitution says we're supposed to be doing in instances like this, which is, I don't know, closing the border and deporting these people because they don't belong here. But again, you know, that generation of people has been dumbed down. So you're trying to tell me this guy can't even speak a lick of English. So they have a Hispanic man and a black woman. What great, you know, juxtaposition for the cameras to scream to the left and virtue signal to the left. Hey, you're being abused again by Whitey. Whitey's kicking you out. No, it's not Whitey. It's not Whitey doing anything. You broke the law, and you're sitting here pandering to a group of people that don't even understand the law. This is where we are as a country. It's really quite tragic, JJ, because if people understood the laws that we're supposed to live by to protect all of us, it doesn't just apply to me or you, it applies to everybody. The legal aliens that are here that came through that are just disgusted because these other guys are cutting the fast pass line at Disney, coming in and collecting $2,200 a month, plus meals, plus education and healthcare, etc. They had to come and spend tens of thousands to get their green card and to become legally here and then to assimilate and become an American. No, this guy is trying to tell you, thumb your nose at America. I'm not going to learn English, the official language. And I want you to negotiate on my behalf because how dare you send an MS-13 gang member to the El Salvador prisons where they're all hanging out. So, you know, DHS tried to negotiate something a little more maybe humane to Uganda. The irony is they speak English there. So one way or the other, this boy is going to have to learn how to stand up and speak if he wants to be heard. You cannot rely on others to represent you. You're going to have to learn how to represent yourself. This is part of it. This is part of being man. Mr. Abrega, you've got to be a man, stand up and speak your mind. Having somebody speak for you all the time shows how weak you are and what a bunch of theatrical nonsense all of this is. It's a disgrace to me, frankly, and the fact that Americans swallow this whole is disgraceful for their ignorance as well.
I agree. Amen. I dealt with these type of people my whole life. They cleaned them up. I've had these guys that I've arrested, and I go and I'm standing there looking at I have their criminal rap sheet in my hand, and they start that sing-song garbage gutter language and start talking to me about, but mi family, and I'm going, oh, wait a minute. Right here it says you raped 5 different women. Oh no, that was the past. I'm changed now. Okay, says that you smuggled and then beat up all your cargo. Oh no, that was the old me. This is I just need a chance.
Yeah.
Una chance, por favor. Yeah, shut up. I'm so tired of all of this. And before I get into your documentary, I wanted to just bring something up that I'd like to get your take on it.
Sure.
Federal government under President Trump admits that there's 55 million visa holders in America. There's another 50 million illegal aliens, and we have 105 million that we know of, illegal and legal foreigners in our country. Tell me how we survive this.
We don't at this point. Our birth rate is woefully too low compared to the people that are here. We are being outbirthed by, Muslims 8-1. We're at a birth replacement population rate of 1.9, I think it is here in the States. So we're just not going to be able to keep up. And we're disappearing. We're essentially disappearing. The America that you and I knew growing up is no longer that same country. It is under a massive replacement population. And it's funny. I used to say 1 in 7 people in this country is here illegally because I was just accounting for the illegals. I wasn't even accounting for the visa holders that are now overstaying their visas, which means 1 in 3 people in this country is here illegally. 1/3 of our country should not be here, JJ. They just shouldn't be here. I understand they've got visas, but we're now running into visa overstays. This is what they're doing. This is how they're staying here. I'm breaking a story, by the way, through the airlines, where I've got an airline pilot who is in a major airline carrier feeding me information of these companies that are hiring these H-2B visas, right? To clean the airplanes, to operate the wheelchairs, to load the bags on the plane. Guess what? They get access just like the pilots do, and they're unsupervised and can wander through aircraft. And did you know a couple of weeks ago on a flight, I think it was an American Airlines flight, every cabin, every cockpit has what's called a crash axe. In other words, an axe that they can use to chop their way out in case they get into a situation. The crash axe was discovered missing before takeoff, and when they tore the airplane apart, you know where they found it? Hidden in first class behind the drink cart, pushed into the drink cart spot where they lock it in place in the galley. It was hidden behind the drink cart in the galley. Gee, I wonder why it was there. I wonder who was going to be boarding that plane that day that might have found out they could get access to that and what might have happened. There is something brewing in this country that is so deep and dark with these illegals that are here and these H-2B visas that are, quotes, legally here. And by the way, these people have no background checks half the time because they come from countries like, Somalia, where they don't have a background check to verify. So they give them security to wander on a plane with no supervision. Hello. Anybody see a problem coming in our transportation industry, which could lead to supply chain crisis, like food, for instance? Yeah, we're in for a rude awakening, America, and the conditions for this war are set to happen right here in this country. Like Michael Yan has been talking about, I'm telling you right now, screwworm has made its appearance here in the country, a flesh-eating, larva, these worms that eat your flesh and they kill livestock and can kill you. And now this. The truck driver that jackknifed not too far from where I live illegally, was driving a big tractor trailer and decided to just do a U-turn in the middle of a highway. You can't do that. Killed a family of 3. Come on, man. I mean, as to parrot Joe Biden, I can smell the crisis coming to America and the war that's coming with it. And it's right here on our doorsteps. And this time it's inside the wire.
And it's coming. It's here. And I think that's the best way I've heard it. The conditions have been set, and the conditions have been set, and now we're just waiting for the green light from our enemy to go. That's why I have such a feeling of urgency where I'm like pounding the table with Donald Trump. Your deportation process is not good enough. We can go. I don't have time, and I know your time is valuable. I mean, you and I could go down this road of. Yesterday, Donald Trump says he's going to allow 600,000 Chinese nationals to come in and go into our universities. Dear God, Ann, we have over 105 million people here that we don't know who they are. And you're going to bring in 600,000 more? Why don't we stop everything? How about this? Why don't we stop the flooding and then figure out what we have, get rid of all the crime and all the criminals and then reset. Why don't we do that? Why do we have to chew gum, spin a plate, ride a unicycle, and then throw darts at the same time? Why can't we just simplify our life? And the answer is because they don't want it to be simple. They want chaos.
That's right.
Oh,
they want chaos. They're going to get it.
They're going to get it. Well, this is a different topic, but it is, I believe it's all tied together. And you have a new documentary coming out on September 7th. Wow, it's around the corner, 2025. And it's called Taken. And I want you to talk about this, but I want, Logan, can you pull up the documentary poster? Because just the poster, Ann, I think is incredible. It grabbed me. When I saw it, I was like, whoa, okay. Because I had to do this with my documentaries. What is my poster going to look like? Whoever did that for you, if you did it, that was amazing because it grabs you immediately. Can you tell us about what this movie Taken is about?
Sure, and I don't have the permission to put these folks on blast, but the people that did are a married couple who've also been challenged with CPS. Great people. I'll check with them in the future to see if I can impart their name. But Taken State-Sanctioned Kidnapping is a documentary based on a family out of Massachusetts called the Rivera family. We've talked about them on the show before. Their youngest of 5 was the bane of existence for one pediatrician when the pediatrician was trying to get the parents to agree to give their son a vitamin K shot. The parents didn't want to do a vitamin K shot. There's no crime in that. There's no law, nothing. But he reported them to Department of Children and Families in Massachusetts, who then decided to start harassing this family. Harassment became so bad, the family up and moved to Texas, by which then the state of Massachusetts took it upon themselves to issue a warrant for their arrests in Texas, where they were arrested by 20 state police officers at gunpoint and ripped out of their house in front of their children and held for a month, both mom and dad at $2.5 million each, then extradited to Massachusetts. The story continues from there in this documentary, and we go through how their due process rights were violated one after the other, the judicial corruption, the malfeasance by the agency itself, the DCF, the money that comes from the very top, from the federal government, that makes it tenable for these states to do this, and very profitable, not only for the states, but for the other parasitic organizations that are part of this entire child trafficking industry under the guise of child protective services. Massachusetts being one of the very worst, because 97% of the families that are torn apart by Department of Children and Families do not meet the legal threshold to have their children taken. Let me say that one more time. 97% of those families don't meet the legal threshold to have their children taken, JJ, yet they are. So we have got to, if you want to really believe in making America great, the American family is the backbone of this country before we have small businesses. And if your family's not great, how in God's green earth are we going to make our country great? So we've got to protect the families. We're going to dismantle CPS. We're going to hold these judges and law enforcement that are part of this parasitic cycle accountable. And we're going to take it down, and we're going to defund it with our movie, with our federal lawsuit we're launching the very next day. And we have a book coming out, all to educate the public. And we're going to wash, rinse, and repeat this state by state till the entire system is wiped out, because families deserve better than what the states are doing to destroy their entire, livelihoods and beautiful future for these children. They're just running roughshod over all of us.
Where can we find this? How do we get it?
Certainly. So we'll be having a premiere at the Legacy Theater in Dedham, Massachusetts, which is outside Boston, September 7th. We have a VIP gathering. Starts at 6 o'clock. And then, of course, you can also watch it on our website, AmericanMadeFoundation.org. We've been nominated for a New England Emmy, JJ. So we're very excited about this documentary. Yes.
That is great. I remember coming out with our documentary at a film festival, the excitement, the nervousness, the anxiousness. So I applaud you. I applaud you for getting in the fight in every realm and producing a documentary. It's very difficult. It's not, you're just going to go out there with your iPhone and shoot a couple scenes and throw it together. It's not like that. It is a journey, it's a frustration. It's fear. It's because you're vulnerable. So I applaud you, Ann. Thank you so much for everything you're doing, and we look forward to talking to you next week.
Thanks, JJ. Take care.
Take care. Ann Vandersteel, stay ahead of the curve. Go to at Ann Vandersteel on X and AnnVandersteel.com. And Logan, can you put that up, the website to get the documentary when it comes out on September 7th, 2025, September 7th. It is called Taken. You have to see it. I saw her other documentary on North Carolina, riveting. This one I can't wait to see because I have some dabblings in the Child Protective Services and how they're controlled by HHS and how they have become a child trafficking machine. Ann Vandersteel is head of the curve. Our next sponsor is patriotsmade.com. patriotsmade.com/JJ. I like what we have up there. Vote with your dollars. Buy American. What a novel approach. I have to go to Walmart sometimes. And every time I'm there, I buy something, I go, dang it. Christy Walton's going to get some of this money in her residuals, billions of dollars, and she's going to fund Black Lives Matter. She's going to fund No Justice, No Kings, blah, blah, blah. The big box stores have the companies that I'm buying their product, and they fund Black Lives Matter, defund the police, Planned Parenthood, the Democrat Party. They fund everything I hate. What in the world am I doing? And I had no choice. Now I do. I go to Patriots Made. I buy the products there. They're green. They're made by Americans for Americans. They're less expensive. They're better products. And all the money goes to an American company that shares our values. Novel approach, right? Go to patriotsmade.com/JJ. Can we continue this uncomfortable conversation? And what is that conversation? It's uncomfortable because we have to talk about something that we have been told for over a decade, 20 years now, maybe even more, but I track it through the lens of being an adult, at least 20 years, maybe 30. And that is the LGBT XYZ divided by pi, add in a pedophile here or two, throw in a transgender nut job. We've had this. It's not even been a discussion, to be quite honest with you, except for the last year. It has been someone or someones with giant bullhorns screaming at us that we're bigots, that we're prudes, that we're sexually irrelevant, that you need to have an open mind, that men can be women, women can be men, we can mutilate children, we can put them on puberty blockers, we can destroy people's lives. It's all good. Nothing bad will happen. It's all good. A 6-year-old has decided to be from a boy to a girl, and they want to cut their genitals off. What could possibly go wrong? Or maybe we don't do that. Let's just start with puberty blockers. Let's destroy all the inner workings of a child. What could go wrong? Well, nothing. And before anybody starts in, well, JJ, this is kind of extreme. Well, you're damn right it's extreme. And I'm going to point it out. That you're mutilating children, you're killing babies in the womb and outside the womb. How bad is it getting? Well, we have a congressman named Sarah. A congressman named Sarah McBride. Let's show this post just by Sarah. See, Sarah likes to go into women's bathrooms. Now, because she's trying to prove a point that it's inclusive. No, if you really know about sexual perversion, you know this man likes to dress up in women's clothes. He gets sexually turned on by being in a women's bathroom and watching women go to the bathroom. People don't want to talk about that. They just want to say it's normal for a dude to have long hair, lipstick, and makeup on and wearing a dress and think that he has breast and that he needs to sit down in order to go pee-pee. I'm crazy. What? I'm crazy? That dude walks in to my niece as she's going to the bathroom. I'm caving his skull in. Let's listen to him talk. Let's listen to Sarah tell us just how crazy we are.
in terms of that? Do you think we weren't out there enough? What are your thoughts about this, the boogeyman that has become identity politics in Democratic Party politics?
Yeah. So look, I think what's clear is that the Republicans are the party that is obsessed with identity politics.
Yes.
The Republican Party is the one that is focused on culture war issues. They're the ones talking about and spending a lot of money, caricaturizing and targeting vulnerable groups in this country. They're the ones that prioritize time and time again these policies.
Can you, Thomas, just go back to that last clip, when the video stopped? I just want to point something out, just so we're aware of what we're talking about here. Can you just pull that? Okay. Do you see that thing that's under her chin? That is called an Adam's apple. And you see men have Adam's apples. Women do not have that. Now, go ahead and bring it back, because I'm looking at a dude. I'm looking at a dude that has a severe mental condition, but that dude has power and authority over my life. I'm pissed off. I don't want a freaking mental patient that has sexual perversion and disease in his brain to have power over me. The dude's wearing a dress. The dude is acting as if he has breasts. The dude still has his normal genitals. What is going on, America? Why can't I look at that person and say, you are a freak? Get out. Go into where you used to be, in the far fringes of society. You're no longer allowed into the sunlight. Sorry. You want to keep your long hair? Fine. You want it, I want the makeup off, I want the dress and the high heels, and I definitely don't want you and your sexual desires inside the women's bathroom. Period. Under the rainbow they stole from God, right? Isn't that amazing? Is they steal the symbol of peace and love and understanding from our God, and they take it. And then they use the most deadly sin of all, pride, and they combine it. Are you lost on that symbolism? Has that just zoomed by your brain? Maybe it has. What's the manifestation of this insanity? Well, it's Sarah McBride, the congressman from Virginia, but it also manifests in this. And Thomas, you are going to have to help me and bleep the curse words out. But I need my audience to see this. This is Sarah McBride. This is the Democrat Party. This is because Republicans remain silent. This is because Christians allowed this to happen without saying anything. This is because our leaders or religious leaders are gutless cowards. This abomination, this poor, wretched soul is the manifestation of everything wrong in America. Go ahead and play this.
Of their value to you. In fact, people shouldn't have to work. People should want to work, and I want to work, and I do work. But it's like, no amount of working is ever going to be enough to prove that I'm not disabled, and no amount of work is going to make me not disabled. It's like I can only do so much.
Before I show my next two videos, I want you to understand something, and I'm not making light of this because this is what I feel. Something has happened in our society, in our foods, in our water, in the air, and it's already been proven that they're seeding our skies. They're putting metals in the sky. They're putting plastics, mRNA in our food, in our water, in our injections from birth. You can't go from everything's okay in America to having absolute mental freaks in the millions like that without stuff being poured into our bodies to change it. And that's why I take that's why I take Pet Club 24/7. I take a pill, a capsule, that is made from a mushroom in Japan that its sole cause is to change or to clean out my immune system, to make my immune system work and run as best as it can, to stop the inflammation, and clean out my gut. So I take it because I know that I have been polluted. My body has been polluted. I want you to go to truthwithjjcarrell247.com, truthwithjj247.com for your pets as well. My little Cinnamon is outside the door right now. I can hear her. She's going to want a treat. I'm going to give her Pet Club treats, not the piece of plastic garbage that my dog's going to chew and try to digest and can't. Go to truthwithjj247.com, truthwithjj247.com. Let me just skip, let me skip Thomas, let me skip 14, and I want to go to 15. And people ask, why aren't men getting married? Why are they waiting so long to get married? Here's Exhibit 1. Yep. I show my son that. And I said, this is not, I don't want you to use this, Joseph, as not to get married. I want to use this to show you when you finally find that beautiful, sweet Christian woman, grab hold of her and don't let her go out of your sight and make her your wife. Because, son, you may think there's something else out there, and I'm telling you, there isn't. There isn't. There's a lot of that. The Democrats are evil. They hate America. Party that's supposed to stop them. The Republicans are complicit. For they all of them, gorge themselves on wealth and power that they stole from us. Have you had enough, America? Have you had enough?
Welcome to Technocracy News with your host, Patrick Wood. I am your co-host, Logan House. Today we have the real reason your power bill doubled. AI data centers, mandates for COVID-19 vaccines,